got to be downtown. I'm supposed to meet up with another group, so let's get this done. Recorded.
So, what the benchmarks, you're right, Sergio, it's, you're meeting those benchmarks at either at a lower amount of trials, like 2 out of 5, and then 3 out of 5, and then 5 out of 5. Which for me actually is better. Percentage to me is a little too objective, but it could be 80% out of that certain amount, or 60% out of that certain amount is what that benchmark is. So
yeah, I agree with trying to be careful with the 80%, because like if the goal was fluency, how do you measure 80% fluency, right? But because with this one, the way Diana set it up, it does have words and it could mispronounce 8 of those, and then we just have percentage, right? They misread it, it's wrong.
You can say like 50% accuracy out of 3 in 3 out of 5 trials.
So the way I was thinking with this goal, because it is a foundation phonics that goal that builds off of each other, I was thinking of doing benchmark 1, student will be able to read closed syllable multisyllabic words. So that's essentially words only containing the short vowel sounds, because those are easier to learn how to read. So that's like their first benchmark, being able to read words containing only closed syllables, closed multisyllabic syllable words. Benchmark 2, I was thinking of incorporating that because it is part of like the syllable, what was it called? Syllabication pattern. One syllable is, like we learned in Dr. Hammond, is the vowel consonant E with the long vowel sound. So that's like benchmark 2. Benchmark 2 would be they could read closed and open syllable words, and VCE words.
But that does that most of those words are not multisyllabic.
But you're kind of building up on it, because kind of at the end it's gonna build up to that. So you want to take like your benchmark as like smaller bites, if that makes sense.
So like the mastery of common syllable types would be like the first benchmark.
The first benchmark would be more closed syllables. That's like the sounds that they're able to understand all sounds within the alphabet. And then the second one would be incorporating more of those long vowel sounds. And the third one can be a combination of both open and closed syllables.
So think about it this way, Caroline. Your goal is going to be like your acts, and then the benchmarks are going to be like your scenes.
Right. I just think that those benchmarks may not work particularly well with multisyllabic words.
Well, for example, with the closed syllable, that would be like the compound words you're teaching them. Car, pet, right? Those are both closed syllables. You put them together, carpet, that's a different word, right?
Right.
So that's why it's getting there. So first you get closed syllable words, and then from there you can move on to compound words that are made off of closed syllable sounds. Or that's kind of what they're saying. First you get to the skill that's needed before, and then you work your way up to those multisyllabic words.
So then we're assuming that they haven't met those benchmarks previously.
Oh, yes. They're probably I guess so, that or that they haven't had that as a benchmark. Not sure. Not sure what the lore is behind the student.
I think we're definitely I think we're analyzing a little bit too much. I think we just kind of like boom, knock these out, just to not run overtime, especially. I don't think Diane wants to see an hour-long discussion video.
Yeah.
I think it just needs to say like accurately decode and read those types of words. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's good. I'm just trying to, yeah.
Because I do have another group to meet. I've already told them I'm going to be late. And
so, Diana, do we have 3 for reading now?
So, are we okay with the first benchmark being closed syllable multisyllabic words?
Yeah.
And then it also I just think it'd be beneficial, because we're only focusing on closed syllables, to keep that accuracy at 80%, because we're really only assessing closed syllables. for benchmark 2, we can do open syllables with those long vowel sounds and incorporate some words with the vowel consonant E ending. So that, and then it's just those words. Because, and then for the third benchmark would be encompassing both closed and open syllable words. With the same 80.
That sounds beautiful.
With the 80% accuracy. So that's what we can do to as benchmark for this goal.
And out of the 3 and 4 trials.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep, I'm good with that.
All right, so I think we've got our reading goal.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Good job, team.
So I'm just looking at the quick like 4th grade math standards just to kind of have an overview. You guys want to do operations?
I'm thinking like, early multiplication, like number sense. So it could be like skip counting, or like multiplying by 2s and 5s, like those, or 0s and 10s, those very early multiplication skills that they need in 4th grade. I don't know.
The first one is using the 4 operations. I think that's high level.
I do too.
Maybe depending on the student. If they have dyscalculia, then they're probably going to have difficulty with place numbers. And that's another one that's here, generalizing place value, understanding multi-digit whole numbers. But either way, I think the first one would be the best one because then you can cover a lot. But I don't know, might be asking too much. But right,
what page are we on?
This is on the math common core standards. Let me see the page real quick. Says page 29.
Is it on number and operations, or which operations on algebraic thinking?
This was on operations and algebraic thinking.
Okay, so interpret a multiplication equation as a comparison, interpret 35, 3 times 7 as a statement.
Or operations base 10, that's a good one.
That could work too.
Or number families, wouldn't that be analyze patterns?
So while Diana's working on the benchmarks, which one do you guys think would be important to help him get to? Right, we don't really know where he's at right now because this is an imaginary student. We're basing it off of your student. Where's your student at, Caroline?
My student still can't count past what she can count on her fingers, and she can't skip count. So one of the things that I've been working on is trying to do it's sort of operations and algebraic thinking, but it's more like number sense and operations with base 10. But so trying to count by 2s, count by 5s, count by 10s, and starting with 0, like if you multiply it by 0, if you multiply it by 1, if you multiply it by 2, because then it's okay, it's the same number twice. So it's that very kind of low, starting to understand what multiplication or division is and why it's different than addition. My person has a real hard time. She has short-term memory problems. So it's got to be very simple, but the algebraic thinking is not something that she can grasp. So we're still working on number sense in some ways, which is the operations base 10. I think as a 4th grade standard. And look, and like place value, 1s, 10s, hundreds, thousands. We can't get past hundreds.
So then would it make more sense just to do with the was it the 10s that you were talking about?
The number and operation in base 10, yeah.
So with that said, yeah, the number of operations based on generalized place value and understanding for multi-digit whole numbers. I think
that's great.
So, and let's see, to get more specific, let's see, it says recognize that in multi-digit numbers, a digit in one place represents 10 times that it represents in the place of it to its right. For example, 70 to imply a concept. Okay. Remember in writing multi-digit numbers, because that's simple enough. That's not something that I feel we can measure. The
Right.
first one. Read and write multi-digit whole numbers using base 10 numerals, number names, and expanded form. Compare multi-digit numbers based on meaning and digits in place.
That kind of reminds me of the like in math when we were like doing that activity where she was like the one we did in groups.
All right.
Or
So how does something like this sound? The student will demonstrate proficiency in number and operations in base 10, specifically in multi-digit whole numbers, as measured by assessments and progress monitoring skills. And then we can put in whatever out of how many.
That works.
Yeah.
Does
I didn't
that
quite hear it. Type it up so I can read it. I didn't quite hear it.
okay, sure.
Sounded.
Ooh, ow.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Let me type it up. Hold on. Given varies in number of operations in base 10. Okay, here. And then we need after, why can't I get to our chat? There we go.
I'll
Okay.
type it up in the document, in the discussion.
Oh, well, here's the discussion. I'll put it in the document too. And then we need to put in the parameters, you know, that's just the general language.
Nice.
So that's like the bulk of the whole goal, because I didn't write it like it's a real goal. Because we're missing the assessment piece.
Okay, and this is
base 10 operations.
yeah, which comment is it based off? Which standard is it based off
I
of?
gotta find that one again.
It's
Green.
It is
You know what?
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Because I'm looking at gain familiarity with factors and multiples, and that could be useful. And as we're teaching that, we can also be teaching number sense. So that one would hit a grade standard, and it's might be easier to help them understand what the places mean, especially when you're teaching multiplying by 10. You know, it's like now you have 10 ones. So what do you think about what do you guys think about using that? Hold on. No, I'm thinking too much. Someone help me out here. I'm typing now.
You're looking at, Sergio?
I was looking at number 4, gain familiarity with factors and multiples. But let's see where she's at. Given various mathematical tests. Number operations in base 10. What does that mean?
So like, which is that the?
That's the one Caroline writing. I'm trying to understand it so we can.
So it's like saying like, okay, so like the example they have 700 divided by 70 is 10. So like anything that's like, what is it? Like the 10 times. So like if we were to do like 800 divided by 80 equals 10, or 8 by 10 equals 80. That's what
okay.
I'm as. You gotta love state standards, right?
so it's like generalized. It can be the same thing, like the generalized place value understanding for multi-digit whole numbers, which is what Sergio was talking about. I mean, that's still number operations in base 10 standards. So let me see if one of these sounds better than the other.
I say we just write a goal and get this out done with. So what is that going to be the goal? But I'm not quite sure I understand it, so I can't quite help with that one.
Carolyn, can you give us an example of what kind of problems the student will be able to solve?
Here, let's see what we think of this. And then, or this other one, also, like it's probably pretty easy, not easy, but for us all to, I'm having so much trouble clicking on the right thing today.
How about this one? Student will be able to add and subtract whole numbers using standard algorithm.
That could work.
That one's easily measurable, and that'll help develop her common standard. The goal for the common core standard wants it to be fluent, but that's what we'll work towards, right?
Right, so that's this one, right? Hold on. Why am I having so much trouble with this? That's this 4th grade goal, right?
Which one?
The one I just put in the chat.
Track multi-digit whole numbers using standard algorithm. We can do that.
All right, let's do that. That's easily measurable and definitely a foundational skill. Okay. Yeah, that's how I pasted it. Undo that.
Oh, do we want to put here?
Given 10, and then
That would
we
be 20.
I'm just,
20, okay.
yeah, I was, let me just.
So given 20 multi-digit whole number problems, comma, student will be able to add and subtract with 80% accuracy. Okay, now let's fix it. What else do we need in there?
By when? So by the end of
by
year.
the end. Oh, you put that in the beginning, which is great.
Do we need to put down, what did you say with the standard algorithm? Do we need that?
I didn't put that in there.
I wouldn't put that in there only because there are multiple strategies the student can use to add, and the standard algorithm is one of them. So,
I agree.
So let's not just limit them to that they have to do it the standard algorithm way.
That looks like a goal to me. What do you guys think?
Name of the IP.
What else is missing? Measured. Oh, when are we measured? Measured bi-weekly.
I would say, unit or math quizzes. And problem solve. Well, we didn't say anything about word problems, so I don't put that in there.
Wouldn't like when you're doing like the bi-weekly and all that, wouldn't that kind of be like in the section you like highlight and check under, like in the IEP?
Not sure.
That I don't know.
Yeah, you can check it off, but like it's best also when it's written on there too.
It's so new to me. Like it's so different in high school.
Accuracy as measured bi-weekly. Probes and assessments given
A certain amount of problems.
sensory approach to.
And I would say like 80% out of like 8 to 10 problems. I would put in a specific number of equations.
We said 20.
Okay, so I have, by the end of the IEP, given 20 multi-digit whole number problems, student will be able to add and subtract with 80% accuracy as measured bi-weekly through probes and assessments given multi-sensory approach to teaching number sense.
I would change it to 10. At 4th grade, 20 is a lot, especially if they're having trouble with this.
Okay.
I would say given access to manipulatives,
Like
visual,
hundreds chart.
instead
So
of
take the multi-sensory approach and just put given access to
manipulatives, visuals, visual aids,
And teacher prompts.
Okay. I think we got our goal.
Yes.
Benchmark 1. Student will be able to do the same thing, but measured with maybe
5 problems.
single digit first.
we can do within 100. Oh, well, when we mean multi-digit up to within 100, within 1,000, what do we mean by multi-digit?
Let's go to
I would say
100.
within 100, yeah.
We got 10 minutes left, yeah.
Within
All
100.
right, let's get this done.
Yep.
10 multi-digit whole numbers up to 100. How would I put that in there?
So, well, my question is, the main goal is within 100 or up to 100, or that's like the benchmark?
I'd say,
Well, it doesn't
Fourth
specify
grader,
here.
they're doing like up to 4,000, up to thousands. That's like a 4th grade standard.
yeah,
That's a
so
good question.
maybe start with hundreds, within hundreds. And so
And then work our way to thousands.
yeah, so the last benchmark would be like within 80% accuracy within 1,000.
Does this person need, is your student still struggling at single digit addition and subtraction?
Yeah.
So we can
So
do
that,
single.
so start there and then single digit and then tens and then hundreds and then thousands. Okay. Same goal, just change. But how would I put that in there by the end of the
I don't know.
IP?
Honestly,
So
then-
that's really difficult.
So we can do like by quarter 4 when given a series of.
I would say within 1 through 10, within like 1 through 50 and 1 through 100. Like, so you go from 1 digit, 2 digit, 3 digit. I wouldn't go up to 1,000. that's going to be a really difficult, we're asking a lot of the student in who's having trouble in a year if they're still stuck with 1 digits. Again, it's fictitious though, so.
So we can do 2 for benchmark 2 digits without rounding. And then benchmark 3, we can do 2 digits with regrouping. And then benchmark 3 is 3 digits with regrouping. So like benchmark 1, there is no regrouping, but they are exposed to 2 digits, addition and subtraction. And then benchmark 2, they're continue to doing 2 digits, but now they're learning to regroup. And then in the third one, we increase it by a 3rd digit with regrouping.
I think that's great. Awesome. Awesome, Diana. Woohoo! I'm coming to you when I have trouble with some of these IEP goals in the future. Say, can you please break this so it makes sense? You're really good at that. You're really good at this. That's one of the things I struggle with is like what's in my head and then how do I concretely write it in an IEP so it's a good IEP with direct language for the next person to read it without having to guess, because we all know what a bad IEP looks like. It's horrible.
Does that work, Diana?
First quarter. Yeah, when
I would measure weekly, not bi-weekly on math, only because I think it takes longer to, maybe it's just me, it takes longer to work on a process in math than.
so like the reasoning, at least for us, right? Like we do bi-weekly to ensure that we are in compliance with their IEPs, only because we are in a classroom of 10 students with IEPs. And because if we're saying we are going to be measuring weekly, if we get audited and we do not have a weekly assessment on them, we're out of compliance. So we do try to assess them weekly, but we do that bi-weekly just to make sure that we are covered and are able to capture the data that we say we are going to be capturing. So that's the reason we put bi-weekly. But yes, we could, I mean, in a perfect ideal world, we would love to assess our kids weekly. But when we are strapped with resources, we do what we can.
Next thing you know, you can't take a vacation.
Well, and I'm also in a resource room. So even though we're the case managers, we don't have them for a whole block of time.
All right, we got about 4 minutes, y'all.
Yeah, you guys work in a much more structured special education system than I do, which is good.
Oops. Oops. Oh, darn it.
I mean, I would say if it might make a difference if the same person we know has reading issues to say verbal cues from the teacher. Or verbal. My brain isn't working. Verbal intervention.
Okay, I think this is it. I think this looks good. Are we done? Because I really gotta get going.
Yep, you can go, Sergio. That's fine. If it's anything, it's just, tightening it up.
It looks tight. Like
I think it looks good.
I agree.
All right.
Awesome. I'll go ahead
Let
and
me submit it right now before I forget.
Rock on, guys.
Oh, wait, I have to wait for the video, right?
yeah, give me like 5 minutes. I'll text
I'll
you.
just submit it when I get to downtown because I gotta get going. I gotta get dragged there before traffic picks up.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Bye.